You're about to travel to 10 of the most populated countries on the planet. The data in this episode is based on the latest worldometers.info estimates, rounded to the nearest million for simplicity in presenting the data. How's it going, guys? You're watching FTD Facts. Leroy Kenton here. Stick with me from 10 all the way down to number 1. Number 10 leads us to the country of Mexico, 133 million. Mexico, with a population of approximately 133 million, ranks as the 10th most populous country globally, surpassing Japan. Its capital city, Mexico City, is the most populous city in the country with over 12 million inhabitants, and the sole city with a population over 10 million in the country. As a popular tourist destination, Mexico draws millions of visitors every single year, making it one of the world's most visited countries. In at the number 9 spot, we have Russia, 146 million. In the mid-20th century, Russia rivaled the US as a global superpower in the political arena. Despite being the most populated country in Europe, its vast size has resulted in a low population density. For many years, Russia has faced a decline in its population, but this trend reversed back in 2010 with lower death rates contributing to an increase in population. However, the pandemic and dispute with Ukraine have caused the country to re-enter a population decline. Russia also has one of the world's oldest populations, which poses a significant challenge for its future prosperity. The country at number 8 is Bangladesh, 169 million. Bangladesh has a large population in a small land area, making it the world's most densely populated large country. Over the past 50 years, the country has experienced a significant decline in fertility rate due to the promotion of female education and government-led birth control programs. But despite having a high population density, Bangladesh's population is mainly concentrated in rural areas, unlike other highly populated countries. This suggests that the country's level of economic development is lower compared to its Asian counterparts. The next country we're looking at is Brazil, 217 million. Brazil has been the demographic leader in South America for a long time. And despite a period of explosive growth in the mid-20th century, Brazil's population growth has been gradually decreasing, and it's expected to turn negative by the year 2050. While the population is heavily concentrated in the megacities on the East Coast, the city's sprawling population has also led to encroachment on the Amazon rainforest. The country coming in at the number 6 spot is Nigeria, with 221 million people. Nigeria has the highest population on the African continent and is also one of the most densely populated countries in all of Africa. Approximately half of the Nigerians live in urban areas, and this number is expected to rise as employment opportunities remain concentrated in the major cities. By 2050, Nigeria could potentially become the 3rd most populous country globally. Also, on top of that, it has recently surpassed South Africa to become the largest economy in all of Africa. In at the number 5 spot in this episode, we have Pakistan with 234 million. Pakistan is projected to be among the top 10 fastest growing countries in the next decade, and the country's population is mainly concentrated in 2 megacities, Karachi and Lahore, with the remaining population dispersed in rural areas, particularly in mountainous regions. Punjab, the country's most populous province, is also the most densely populated area. In the coming decades, Pakistan is projected to surpass Indonesia in terms of its population size. Number 4 leads us to the country of Indonesia, 282 million. Indonesia's population is significantly concentrated on specific islands, with Java being the most heavily populated. This island, which hosts the country's capital city, Jakarta, holds 56% of Indonesia's population, and it is among the world's most densely populated areas. Therefore, Java is also recognized as the most populated island globally. In addition to all of that, Indonesia has a relatively young population with a median age of just 30 years old. Moving on to the country at number 3, the United States of America, 337 million. Between 1950 and 2010, the United States experienced a population growth from 151 million to 309 million. The population is heavily concentrated in densely populated urban areas along the east and west coasts, and the two most populous states, California and Texas, make up about a quarter of the total population of the United States of America. Over time, the country's demographics have shifted significantly due to the decline of manufacturing industries. Along with other factors such as the rise of the middle class, the population growth has slowed down considerably. Without high levels of immigration, the United States' population would actually be in decline. The country coming in at the number 2 spot is India, 1.42 billion. Yeah, we're in the billions now. India is the second most populous country in the world with a population of, yes, 1.42 billion. And it's expected to become the most populated country by the year 2030. Some sources suggest that India has already overtaken China in terms of population though. But these are all just estimates. It's really hard to 100% know until it's very clear. Also, despite having an area almost 1/3 of the size of China, India has a much higher population density. And despite a declining fertility rate and changing attitudes towards having smaller families, there is still a notable discrepancy in population growth between the north and south regions of India. So let me explain this a little bit. The fertility rates remain high in the northern region, where families tend to be poorer, and it outweighs the declining population in the wealthier south. Additionally, the population density is generally higher in urban areas such as Calcutta. Coming down to the number 1 spot in this episode, you guys guessed it, China, 1.46 billion. China has a massive population numbering in the billions, and it's currently the world's most populous country. Its population has grown by almost 900 million people in the last 70 years from 550 million in 1950. To control the population growth, China implemented a one-child policy from 1980 to 2015, and the policy legally restricted families to have only one child. And most of China's population is concentrated in the eastern half of the country. And interestingly though, if Hong Kong was considered a separate country, it would rank around 100 in the list of countries by population. So yeah, it just goes to show you where the most amount of people in China are actually living. On that note, that wraps up this episode looking at the 10 most populated countries in the world. There's only 2 countries numbering in the billion, but hey, we'll have to wait and see, because with the growth in a lot of these countries, again, we may see multiple countries in the billions in the next several decades at least. Either way, that's it for me, guys. I'd love to hear your thoughts and comments down below. And if you did make it this far, leave a big thumbs up. Thanks for hanging out with me in another video, and I'll catch you in the next one.